In this final class for section 7.2, we're going to look at how we come back with the quadratic equation if we're given the roots. So the first example, you're told that roots are -2 and 6, and we need to come back with a quadratic equation in standard form. Well, we'll work backwards. What you would have seen before coming up with the answer would have been something like this, where you would have had x equals -2 and x equals 6. So let's bring the -2 back across. That will be positive. And we'll bring the 6 back across. Now, applying the 0 property in reverse, you would have had this equals 0. Now we multiply out everything here. So working it back out, here's our answer. Here's our equation in standard form. Now if we factor this back down, we will come back. Now in our next example here, we're given roots of -2 and 3/5. Just clear that up. And what you can do here is take a small shortcut. You would know that roots, or what should be in the brackets, will be the opposite of the roots. And just to highlight that or demonstrate it, here the roots were -2 and 6 in our first example. When we put it back in, they were opposite values, 2 and +6. Now we need to carry out our multiplication. Once we carried out our first multiplication through, we find that we have a denominator 5. Now we could combine our x terms using fractions, or we could get rid of fractions now before we go any further with the question. So to get rid of the fractions, we multiply every term by the common denominator, which in this case will be 5. So every term here has to be multiplied by 5. So you would have 5x squared, 5 times 3/5. So it's a positive 5 we're multiplying, and this will be negative, plus 5 times 2x, and 5 times -6/5. And 5 times 0 is 0. When we're multiplying through here, remember that when you multiply through your common denominator and you come to the fraction, that 5 divides into 5 and it cancels. And same happens here. Combining your terms, 5x squared plus 7x minus 6 equals y. So you're asked to end it as an equation, and don't forget to do that. Now we have 3 more examples, and we have to come up with a quadratic equation for each. So we take the opposite. This is 3/4, so it will be plus 3/4. Sorry, if I said the opposite, that will be minus 3/4. And negative will become a positive 2/3. We'll multiply that one out. Here, you have plus or minus 2 square root 5. So 1 root. So this is telling you one root is positive 2 root 5. The other is negative 2 square root 5. And the last one, you have 3 plus 4 root 2. And you have 3 minus 4 root 2. you have to switch, when there's two terms like this in a root, you have to switch the values of both terms. So it will be negative 3, negative 4 root 2 for our first one. And then for our second one here, negative 3 plus 4 root 2. Okay, and we'll work through each of these separately now. Okay, now we carried out our multiplication. We find that we have denominators of 3, 4, and 12. So common denominator will be 12. So 12 is multiplied to every term. So 12x squared. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 goes into 12 3 times. And the 12s here cancel. Notice that anywhere there was a negative, I place it inside the brackets. So again, here, I was put inside the brackets there. Outside, kept positive values everywhere. So it will be 12x squared plus 8x minus 9x subtract 6. And combining like terms, just the x's, this is our equation. Alright, carried most of the multiplication here, but I left the last step. So multiplying x times x, x squared. X times 2 root 5 is 2 root 5x. Negative 2 root 5 times x, negative 2 root 5x. And remember, when we are dealing with radicals, numbers on the outside will multiply together. So 2 times 2, so that would go to negative 4 because it's negative there. Square root 5 times square root 5 is square root 25, or just 5. So combining our terms, these would cancel. One's positive, one is negative. And that's our equation. There. Here, this one's going to be longer. You have to multiply the x to all three numbers over here. So the x is multiplied to everything here. Then the 3 is multiplied to everything through, and then negative 4 root 2. So you should end up with 9 terms that have to be simplified. So this is a longer question. I'll work it out down below here. Alright, as I said, this was going to be longer. So you have 9 terms. Now we have to simplify where possible. There's only going to be one x squared term. So we have negative 3x, negative 3x, so negative 6x. We have positive 4 root 2x and negative 4 root 2x. So both of these will cancel. We have 9, and at the end here we have negative 16 times 2, well, negative 32. So 9 subtract 32, minus 23. So we take care of that term. And this one, we have negative 12 root 2 and positive 12 root 2. So although it's a lot of 9 terms here, it simplifies down very quickly.